You're tuning into the Wild, Weird, and Sometimes Normal podcast. If you have a story or a guest recommendation that you think others need to hear, email me at wildweirdandsometimesnormal@gmail.com. Let's get this started. Alex and Brett, kick it!
Wild. Wild. Weird. And sometimes wild. Weird. Wild. Weird. Wild. Weird. Wild. Weird. And sometimes normal.
On this episode, I'm joined by musician Mark Fisher. In the summer, Mark is probably a staple at your favorite shore bar, or maybe you've caught him at Shady's, or any number of his regular haunts playing banger after banger. Mark's a dual threat. You can listen to him at various bars playing all the hits, or stream his original music on any platform. Mark and I discuss how someone breaks into the business, staying at a hostel in Key West between shows and never knowing who your roommate is going to be, getting tired of Facebook Live shows during the pandemic and deciding to record your own original music. I've known Mark for a long time. He's a good dude. If you see him jamming, tell him you heard him on Wild and Weird. Enjoy the show. Are you looking to buy a home in New Jersey? Escape the city and move to the suburbs? Finally purchase a vacation home on the lake or down the shore? Maybe you're one of the lucky ones who are retiring and moving out of state. If so, let me help you. Keller Williams and the Real Estate Professional Group have what you need to make your goals come true. Reach out and have a conversation with someone who will put you first. Contact Brian McCoach at 856-321-1212 or email brianmccoach@kw.com. Are you looking for CBD for your pet? My friends at Pure Pet Wellness have what you need. They use the highest quality ingredients. While other companies may use synthetic oils in their CBD, Pure Pet Wellness uses organic ingredients, organically grown hemp, organic coconut oil, organic shea butter, organic beeswax, and that's just to name a few. A family-owned and operated company that also offers fast shipping. Go to purepetwellness.com for all your pet's CBD needs and use the discount code WILD and WEIRD at checkout. That's WILD, A-N-D, WEIRD. Treat your animal right. Go to purepetwellness.com. Welcome to another episode of Wild, Weird, and Sometimes Normal. I'm your host, Brian. And today my guest is Mark Fisher, a musician from Sommerdale, New Jersey. Welcome, Mark.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great, man. So we went to the same high school, Sterling High School, representing.
We did.
One of the first times, I'm sure you remember this. If I said, hey, when's the first time we met? I'm sure it'd pop right in your head. But one of my first jobs ever was a dishwasher at Ponderosa.
Yes. How did I forget that?
Yeah,
no, I do. Well, I remember I graduated with your brother, so I remember your brother. Yeah. And I just thought I knew you through school because you were a couple of grades lower than what were you, class of 98?
99.
99. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was, but yeah, Ponderosa Steakhouse. Wow. Whitehorse Pike.
Ponderosa. Good old days, man, right there. Now, was it a Burger King or is that the Stratford Diner? One of them. Yeah. All right. I've been there once or twice.
Yeah. Me too. When it was open 24 hours before they took that away from us.
Taking everything away from us. There's nothing left good anymore.
Not after 8:00 at night. Now it's for vampires like me. It's tough.
Tough. That's tough. So, is this a rare night off for you?
No. Usually this time of year is pretty slow for me, especially Tuesday nights. I'm actually just getting over being sick. I think everybody's gotten the crud. Past couple of weeks is I've just been hearing everybody just getting sick, and I'm finally over it. Everybody else in my house is quarantined right now. They're all downstairs and sick and still, but they're getting over the hump too.
It ripped through my house the week before Christmas, and then luckily, so the 22nd, whatever Friday was, everyone was finally fine. But leading up to it, was please get better, please.
Yeah. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, it's hard being sick over the holidays because you have little ones, right?
A son and a daughter, 10 and 7.
Yeah, so Santa's still gonna come no matter what.
Yep, he'll come one way or the other. If I'm laying in bed dying, he'll still show up.
Yep. I hear you. Yeah, I remember those old Ponderosa days. I worked there for quite a long time.
You had a real education in that back with some of those other dishwashers or those cooks with the jailhouse tattoos.
Yes, you get a hell of an education in the restaurant business in general. I've worked for quite a few restaurants. I've learned some stuff that I'd rather unlearn, and some other stuff that's been very beneficial in life.
Yeah. Well, if you get like caught in like a tight situation in Tijuana or something, you could like fall back on this knowledge that you have and be able to slip right out.
You'd be surprised. I lived in San Diego for 3 years. I was in a couple hairy situations in Tijuana.
And then you
You'd
just
be
lean back on
surprised.
your Ponderosa days. You're like, what would these
Oh, I
guys
could,
do? Don't get me.
I could tell you some stories, but they probably some of them might get me canceled. So I'm just not
Oh,
gonna.
all right.
I'm not even going there.
We'll save that for the after show. That'll be
Yeah,
members only or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some pretty interesting San Diego, Tijuana, going over the border, not being able to speak because I drank so much over in Tijuana and
Yeah.
trying to talk my way back over the border. I'm like, no, no, no. And I'm like, I probably sounded like I was not from this planet, not I was
Yeah. Like, do we let them in?
illegal
Yeah.
alien.
Yeah, you go now. They would just let you right in. That's fine. They give you free healthcare too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be good to go. Were you doing music in San Diego or was that you just moved out there?
No, I believe it or not, I went out to San Diego to get away from music. At that time of my life, I had just gone from like music being a hobby for me and something that I've always loved and something, and then I put my foot into the business aspect of it, working for the the corporate side of it, like still as a musician, but working for more, which I do now, which I'm fine with, but at the time I just wasn't ready, and I just kind of wanted to get away from everything, and that was one thing I wanted to get away from. A couple friends of mine had just moved to Arizona prior to that, and it just kind of inspired me. Like, I don't have to stay here. I love it here, and I'm glad that I'm here now. But I'm very glad that I was able to get away and explore different aspects of the United States. I lived in South Carolina for a while, North Carolina for a while. I lived quite a lot of different places. And probably just all part of a journey to find myself. People go about that in different ways. I went about it just by moving around and just trying to learn different, I don't want to say cultures because it was all the United States, but it was definitely a different culture in California than in South Carolina or New Jersey or New York. It's different everywhere you go. So I was trying to build who I was through my travels, and I think that's and somehow or another I'm back here, right here in Stratford, New Jersey.
All roads lead back home, man. That's the good thing. So
Every
I
time
moved
I try to get out, they pull me back in.
they pull you right back in. So I moved from the Camden County area, went out to Chicago for a few years, absolutely loved it. And then we went to Pittsburgh. And that would, I think I would have loved it if I went from New Jersey to Pittsburgh to Chicago. But Chicago, I thought was like the best city. I haven't been like all over, but like, you go to New York City and that's a lot of fun, but it's also very crowded.
Yeah,
Chicago was super clean, ready to go. The public transportation was clean. Every neighborhood has like 3, 4, 5 bars in it. They all have their own little summertime festivals going. There's always so much stuff to do. So I loved it. And we went to Laguna Beach for a wedding. And that was the only time I was in California. So Laguna Beach, like, super rich
okay.
and all this stuff. But I
Hmm.
didn't buy a house there. We were just staying in a hotel there. But it was right on the Pacific Coast Highway, beautiful hotel overlooking the Pacific Ocean. And at happy hour, we were there like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday or something. So Thursday and Friday at happy hour, like the beach just got crowded. It's so like people weren't going to like Sharkies or Shadies or like, whatever happens like 5 o'clock around here. But like just to see people like, I'm gonna go outside and get exercise, or I'm gonna go outside and go swim in the ocean. Like that was like so refreshing to
Yeah,
see that. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get on Zillow and see what I can buy here. So, I don't know, whatever I could afford that time. So I put it up to like 350 or 400 or something. And there was a 1 bedroom shack, like just legitimate, just a shack. I was like, oh, gee, like I can never afford anything here. So I threw up to 10 million and then you get to see all like the Hollywood homes, all the movie star
right.
homes. But
Yeah, yeah,
that was cool out there, but I don't know if that's fully my vibe, but it was nice to vacation there for a minute.
yeah. I mean, and this would have been you know, almost 20 years ago now. So I mean, I haven't been out there in a long time, so I don't know what it's like now. I'm sure it's probably different than it was. I just, and I don't know if that it's different there or that I'm different, but I just feel like nothing stays the same long enough to actually feel comfortable. And I'm like where you're like, okay, cool, I got this. I
Yeah.
know I know the vibe here because like I said, I don't know if the vibe changes or if we as human beings change, which, but whatever the case may be, that was 20 years ago. And I don't think I could live in California these days. I don't think I could
Yeah.
keep up.
I think it's a little bit of both. Like, the vibe
Yeah.
probably stays like somewhat the same, but like as generations just change, so you're gonna get that vibe to change. But then like hopefully like we're all growing as people, getting better
Yeah.
and then realizing what you want to do. And it's like, you can't wait to get so far away from your home. And then when you're far away, you're like, oh, but like, there's people that always care about me. They don't care about like what I'm doing to, like what have you done for me lately? They just care about like you, Mark, as a person. So you come back there and it's like kind of nice to get that familiarity.
Yeah. It's that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, even here, I was gone from this area for a long time. And when I came back here, it just felt different. The vibe is completely different now, and I'm also an adult now. Like I left I mean, I don't want to say a kid. I was 28 when I left. But to me, that's, especially looking back now, I'm 45, I'll be 46 next month. Especially looking back now, like I was a kid, I was green and I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know what direction my life was going to take. So when I came back as an adult, it was a completely different vibe. Now, whether that's, because, a lot of my friends had fallen off into a different kind of lifestyle, whether that's because I grew as a, human being, who knows what factors into that, but I'm glad to be here mainly because, I found my girl and she's awesome and her kids are great. I get to kind of live like an adult,
That's the important part, man. Yeah, I think that's good.
you know.
When did you start playing music?
So I started playing music when my baseball career didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to turn out. At 10 years old, little league, I knew in my head I was going to be the next Mike Schmidt, but couldn't hit a ball or throw a ball or catch a ball. So it became evident that I needed a new
A
sport,
backup plan.
a backup plan. So yeah, at 10 years old, my mother bought me a guitar for Christmas. And I didn't really take it seriously at all. I took some lessons. I learned a couple things here and there. I quit every other week. And then I started like kind of like, knowing a couple things. And, just like any kid, I think, anyway, I knew like three things and I thought I was great. And then I went to high school and I met people who also, because I went to a very small Catholic grade school. There was like 20 kids in my class. I was the only one who like took an interest in playing an instrument, that I knew anyway. So up until that point, and none of my friends played a musical instrument. So up to that point, I was like, oh, I'm the best. I'm the best at this. Went to high school and I met some other guitar players that were like just amazing. And I was like, all right, I quit. I'm done. I'm a serial quitter. In fact, I remember my mom when I was younger because I quit baseball because I wasn't any good. I signed up for basketball. I quit because I wasn't any good. I signed up for bowling. I was terrible. I just wasn't good at it. I never gave myself a chance to actually develop anything because once I felt like I was inferior, instead of like, I know now psychologically what that was. It was like, I didn't want to admit that I was inferior, but the fact of the matter is I just had to practice at some things. I had to like learn things, and instead of putting the work in, instead of like going through that and having to admit that I wasn't good enough, I was just like, I don't want to do this anyway. And psychologically, I know that now. Back then, I didn't know that. But anyway, while I was in high school, I started picking it up again. But like, I would kind of do it as a joke. I'd write like parody songs and joke songs because like it was a way to kind of mask the fact that I wasn't very good. Does that make sense? Like if I made a joke of it, I could kind of show off what I can do, but also not have to be great. I just had to be funny. I just had to be funny.
Right.
Um,
As I'm armchair psychoanalyzing you, a lot of protection things you're throwing up. I'm going to quit bowling because I'd rather quit now than someone tell me I'm not good. Quit playing
yeah,
basketball, and you're like, well, instead of, hey man, like I can rock out, I can do this. You're like, well, let me just do some like Weird Al or like Stephen Lynch type of thing, and then
right,
if people are laughing, it doesn't, as long as the laugh is there.
right, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's. I think so. I'm the youngest of a large family. I have six older brothers, all boys. And they're now the age gap is smaller because we're older, but they were pretty significantly older than me. When I was younger. So like they were always good at stuff, and like I just wasn't as good at stuff. Like they had their thing. So I always had that kind of inferior when I was young, and I let it cripple me when I was younger, and I let it fuel me now. Does that make sense?
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, everybody needs their adversity they can climb over. Sometimes I worry that like my kids are growing up too easy. Like they are like,
Oh
oh,
yeah,
I need new basketball, or I need new basketball shoes or something, and it's not like, how can we earn this? It's like, oh yeah, jump in the car, we'll go to Dick's Sporting Goods and grab whatever. It's like, oh no, that's not the right life lesson. Like, what is?
well, yeah. I mean, like I, I think I know that I'm a Gen Xer, but I was a millennial before it was cool. Like I was like, I was, like all like the stereotypes about millennials, and which I don't buy into. For the record, I think that different people in every generation that create stereotypes, and I don't think that that's a blanket for everybody. But all the stereotypes I fell into. I was totally a millennial before it was cool to be a millennial.
Setting trends
But
before
yeah,
they're there, man. I like it.
yeah, that wasn't my best trend to set before.
Yeah. But at least now with the millennials, like I'm not gonna sit here and get on a soapbox and defend them. But their life,
No,
it's not like that's so easy, but computers make things so easy, like that you can automate things. Like in
oh,
my
for
regular
sure.
job, I do a lot of Excel things, and then people are like, "Oh my God, how'd you get that done so fast?" I'm like, what are you talking about? Like if there's like people that are older than you, I'm like, yeah, of course it took me all day to do this, or it took me all week. It's like, man, this is like
Yeah,
three formulas, and they can just run themselves and pop back out into a spreadsheet. But if you don't know what you're doing, so I just feel like millennials have that hack of like they know what they're doing with computers and with technology and use that to their advantage. And then
well,
those old
yeah.
people are looking at them like, hey, yelling at clouds.
Yeah, I mean, my girl's actually a few years older than me. Not much, but a couple years older than me. So she's a Gen Xer as well. But she cannot. I mean, she is a whiz, an Excel whiz. She loves Excel. Everything. We're going on vacation. Oh, it's okay. I'll do a spreadsheet. I'll take care of it. She's an
Yeah.
accountant, so they're like, she's like, whereas I'll get excited about like a new record coming out. She'll be like, "Oh, there's a new update on Excel."
Should I update now or wait for the weekend? When should we do this? You're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, well, yeah,
we're
whatever."
we're different. We're different, but
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
works. It works.
The opposites that attract. That's what this is.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's funny because she went to Sterling as well. So there's people that know both of us, but we never knew each other. And when we first got together, like we turned a lot of heads because we have a lot of mutual friends, and we're like, wait, what? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, Excel. Nah, I took a course in Excel, and I was like, no, thank you. I just
Let that
I
go.
just figured it out on a piece of paper with a
Yep.
pen, and
Carry the
actually a pencil
one.
because
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, I'm gonna
Remainder
need to
two. It's
erase some
fine.
stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly,
That's awesome. Yeah.
exactly.
All right.
But
So you're in the
yeah,
lunchroom at Sterling. You're in the cafeteria. You're doing your songs. You see people that are better than you. When does this start fueling you? When do you start? What happens next?
so I started playing in a band with a gentleman who's no longer with us. Actually, his name was Steve Hickey, and he was in my grade, and he played drums. And we started writing like songs that were like, I mean, I wouldn't say they were good. I still don't think my songs are good, but they were fun, and it was fun to do, and it was like about the camaraderie, and I learned actually how to play with other people. To me, that was like a safety net. It was like, okay, and it was about that time that I was starting to, I guess, attract the opposite sex a little bit more. I mean, not that I've ever actually fully outgrown my awkward stage, but I was kind of like at my peak around 17.
Yeah.
you know, I was like, oh, okay. So like honestly, at that point, it was all about the girls, and that was what fueled me. And then I was like, all right, you know what? It don't matter if I think somebody's better than me. It just matters that I can get this girl and they can't.
That's awesome. Hey, a little competition for yourself.
Yeah, that's, I can't believe I just said that.
All right, real quick before we go. So you're playing the guitar in this band. Are you singing as well at this point?
No, I did not start singing for much, much later,
Okay.
but go on.
No,
Yeah.
was like Catholic school. Like, were you singing in like choir, like at
Oh, no, no.
church? Like,
Oh,
where the singing come
no.
from?
I started singing out of, all right. So I'll revert back to when I told you about when I went to San Diego. I still had my guitar in my car. It was 3 years in, probably two and a half, 3 years in. And I was sitting at my favorite spot on Ocean Beach. It was Sunset Cliffs, it was called. And I was just sitting there and I was by myself and I was waiting for the sunset. And I was about an hour early. And I said, you know what? I haven't touched my guitar in probably a year. So I went out, I got my guitar, and I just started fiddling around. And I started singing because it was just me, with an acoustic guitar, and I was just there. And there was nobody else there, so I didn't have to worry. And I was it sounds ridiculous, but like I would hear the waves crash onto the cliffs, and it sounded like applause to me. And so I kept playing. And then I was actually hearing actual applause because the sunset was coming and people had gathered around to see the sunset. And then they started making requests. And it was like, I guess through all the years of me playing in cover bands and, and like all the songs, like I would, not all of them, but I would say 80% of the songs they were asking for, I knew. And I knew all the words because I don't know why my brain just remembers words. And like, I just have a good memory. That's what I have is a good memory. So I started playing whatever they wanted, it was, whatever they wanted to hear, Goo Goo Dolls or Seven Mary Three or Eve Six or, whatever whatever they were asking for, or like oldies, like, like My Girl or like whatever. Like I knew all those songs. And, so I started singing and they're like, you have a really good voice. And I always thought I had a terrible voice. I still think I find it hard to listen to my CDs because I just don't like it's hard to hear your own voice. John Lennon hated his own voice. So I don't feel too bad. I feel like I'm in good company there. That was like when I first started saying, you know what, maybe I'll put together like a solo acoustic show, like maybe I'll start playing again a little bit for fun, Out of necessity, I started singing and that's kind of where that happened. It just kind of happened. I didn't really set out to be a singer. And like I said, I still don't really look at myself as a singer. I look at myself as a guitar player. I look at myself as an entertainer, really, first and foremost, because I don't think I'm a great guitar player. I don't think I'm a great singer, but I think I'm pretty good at entertaining and my goal isn't to be the best, musician or to be, my goal is to make sure that every time I play, everybody in the crowd is happy, smiling, and singing along. And I make their night a little bit better. If I can make their night a little bit better, especially these days when everybody has it hard, if I can make everybody feel a little bit better for just a song, I feel like that's my role in life. I found myself. That's, that's what I'm on the planet to do.
Well, I think your guitar playing and your singing, your quality of it is reflected in your summer schedule. Like when you post things, like I'll see it on Facebook and you're like, hey, this week, double booked Friday, double booked Saturday, private event Sunday, Monday I'm here, Tuesday I'm here, Wednesday I'm here. You're releasing your
Yeah.
own music, so like you have your own stuff going on, you have the cover stuff going on, you have private events people are hiring for, you're all over, you still go up and down the East Coast, right? So you're all over the East Coast, like bouncing around, going different bars and playing there.
Yeah. So last year I made a trip down to Key West, played a little bit down there. That was a really awesome experience. I'll probably do that again next year. Sadly, my mother passed away this year. So I really like when it was time to kind of make those arrangements. I was like, I'm not making those arrangements. I'm just, like I was in I was in a place that I couldn't really go and try to book shows, down there. But I'm gonna make another trip down next year probably. I was just discussing that today actually. But mostly I keep it in the Jersey Shore. I mean, I in the summertime, like you said, I play about 10 shows a week in the summertime, and it's mostly Jersey Shore, Avalon, Cape May, Wildwood, Sea Isle. I still maintain. I year round I play at 814 South, which is used to be Shady Katie's in Summerdale. I still play there every other Friday, every first and third Friday of every month. I play at a place called the Mount Royal Inn, which is over in is that Gloucester County? I think that's Gloucester County. And they're like West Deptford area.
Yeah, yeah.
So I still maintain things here in Delaware County, but for the most part in the summertime, I'm down the shore. I'm down the shore and working my butt off.
Yeah. So I guess this all kind of leads to it. Do you remember your first paid gig?
I do.
Like with you doing
Sure.
like the singer songwriter thing?
Oh, that.
Like with you being singer songwriter, not like so not like you're in the band and someone's a drummer.
Okay.
Like was just like your own thing and you're like, did you call up a bar? Was this you playing at Seaside Cliffs and you're like, hey man, what are you doing tomorrow? Like how does
Mm, so, hmm, I don't know. I think it might have been in North Carolina because right from San Diego, I moved to North Carolina. I was doing. I had kind of reclaimed my love for playing and all, and and I yeah, it must have been there. I don't. I want to say the club was called Slick and Reds. I know it's not there anymore. I know. I don't think it was there. Like I think I lived in North Carolina for maybe a year and a half. And I don't think it was there when I left. Like it was like kind of just a roadside. And they
did
were
you
like,
put them out of
sure, yeah, we'll
business?
book you. No, I didn't put them out of business. No, 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 no. It's funny you say that though, because I've been accused of putting people out of business.
Oh
Not
man.
for not for
Yeah.
real, but in around 2004ish, I worked at a series of restaurants all on Blackwood Clement Road, and they all like kept closing. Like I would work there and they'd be like, "Oh, we're closing in a month." I'm like, "Wait, I got to work somewhere that's like gonna stay open because
So
it
at the
was like a
casinos
good like
they bring like the cooler out as the dealer to get the hot guy to cool his hand down. So you were like the cooler of the hire of like they get you in, they're like, oh shit, we're shutting down next month now. Like, or someone else take him. Philomeno's, you hire him.
yeah, no, not quite, not quite. That was I mean that was when I was a restaurant manager, and I've never shut down a place from playing that I know of. Anyway, I hope not.
So you moved to
um,
North Carolina. Are you like knocking on doors or are there like advertisements, like back page advertisements? Like, how do you find out that
I,
people are looking
I
for?
it's funny. No one's ever asked me that, and I don't really remember. I don't really remember what. I don't really recall like how I got that gig, or if someone like that worked there. I know I was making pizzas at the time. My regular job. I was making pizzas, so I was meeting different people from work and all that, and different customers. So it might have been that, but I really don't remember exactly how I got that gig. But I think that was my first like singer songwriter paid gig. I think I want to say, but I mean, that's not really. That might not be accurate.
Yeah.
But
Well, they're closed. So they can't. There's no fact checking for this.
yeah, 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 right. Well, yeah, we'll just call it that. Yeah, but
Yeah. All right. So I guess how do you know what to charge? Like, where's this all come from? You're just talking to other people, or
um,
you're like rock bottom
so,
prices? Like, how does not now? I'm not asking everything now. But like back then, like
oh,
you're there.
then
Yeah, not now, not for
then
now. Yeah, like how do you
so
know? You've never done this
I
before. You're like, hey, do you want me to sing a song and $25, 2,500? Like, what, do you just see how their eyes are looking at you as you're throwing numbers
I
out?
I would just kind of like back then I would let them dictate. Like I would say like what do you guys pay? And it was not much. I can tell you that much. It was not much for a long time. I did not make a lot of money per gig. Never to the point where I thought I could make a living from it until I had to, until I was forced into a situation where it had to become my living. And that would have been when I broke my back. I was actually I'd moved from the restaurant business. I went to work at Boeing, building helicopters, which is kind of my family business. Everybody in my family, my father, brothers, they all worked for Boeing. So I went, took a job there. I transferred to South Carolina, and shortly thereafter, I broke my back at work. So there I was in South Carolina. I didn't know anybody, and I didn't know what to do. I couldn't afford really to move back because I didn't have a job. I was getting, like I was getting my disability for a little while. And I was like, shoot, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I played a couple open mics, and down there it was I was different than everybody else. This is down south, everybody's singing the same five country songs, and that was, I mean, it's no different than here. Like everybody was singing the same pop songs. But I was singing the pop songs from here in the country bars down there, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's different. We'll hire him." Because I was different. I kind of took from here, and then I applied it down there, and it seemed to work because it wasn't, not that it was better. It wasn't. There was a lot of incredible musicians down there, but I was just different. So, people like that. And I started working about 6, 7 shows a week down there. And I was like, oh, I really don't have to find another job. Like I could do this, at least for now. And that was about 11 years ago. So, so far, so good.
Yeah, man, keep it up. That's awesome. I guess it's more of a now question now. And if you don't want to answer, however it is, that's fine. So when you
That's
go to
okay.
Key West, like how's that like? Do you have to rent a place when you're in Key West? Are they putting you up? Are these bars? Is there
Yeah, I do. Yes. Different people have different arrangements. Me being an independent guy, and I'm 100% independent. I don't have an agency or any kind of booking agent. I do everything grassroots. Now with Key West in the booking, I had a lot of help from my friend Matt Quinton, who lived down there for 11 years. Grew up here in Audubon. Good friend of mine, had been friends for 20 years, and he helped me get some shows down there. Yeah, as far as place to stay, that's on me. I do that.
you need to get
I
like a
try to
sailboat
find
and just live out in the marina?
that would be wonderful. That would be great. Um, I keep saying once the kids are in college, maybe we can sell our Stratford house and keep we have a house in Wildwood and a house in Stratford. Keep the Wildwood house and then live in maybe buy a condo in the Keys. Can make some better money out down there in these cold months. Yeah. So what I do is when I went down there, I stayed in a hostel. I rented a bunk, in a hostel, and I'd never done that before, and it was a very interesting experience. I went down there by myself, which my girl's not fond of because she loves Key West and she hated she missed the trip. But next time she's coming with me. We will not be staying in a hostel, I'm sure, and we're not sharing a bunk.
Yeah. All right. I've never been in a hostel. I've seen the horror movie and that's about it.
It
So
wasn't like that. It wasn't quite like that. It was
no one did their amateur dentistry on you and ripped all your teeth out.
oh well, yeah, no, that part,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, that was fine. Yeah. So was this like a house or is this
no, this was it was a hotel. It was called Naya,
okay.
NYAH, and it stood for Not Your Average Hotel. And it was just, I mean, it was nice. They had 3 pools. It had like a cocktail hour, a little bar. It was like a regular hotel, but the rooms had 4 bunks in them, and you just rented the bunk, and it was like a little spot for it was like $100 a night, which is, down there is very, very, very good, but it's no frills. Yeah, I mean, the pool was nice. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't, as bad as I thought, but some parts were a little bit weirder. I was like, like I never knew who was going to be renting a bunk that day. Like I was there for 4 days, so there'd be somebody. Oh, there's somebody in the room. Hi, how you doing? Glad I locked my stuff up. You get a locker, and you can lock. You lock your stuff up.
Yeah. That was gonna be my next question. How do you secure your guitar and everything?
Yeah, well, I actually kept my guitar and stuff at the venue.
Okay.
It was actually an awesome venue called the Celtic Conch. If you're ever down there, they're from the owners are from Sea Isle, and they it's all Eagles, and it's great. It feels like home.
That's awesome. Anytime you can break into like a Fly Eagles Fly and the whole bar joins in or something,
I
you can't
did.
beat that. Yeah.
I don't know if the whole bar joined in, but not enough people did. It
Yeah.
was
Just
fun.
enough transplants.
I think at the time I think I played the Dancing on My Own as well. I think I played that as well. I'm retiring that song now. That song is 2 years in a row, and no World Series. So
Yeah. The Phil's about to retire. They need to move on with their song.
yeah, we got to get a new song. Got to get a new
Yeah.
song.
If a song is dictating how your season's going, I think there's probably bigger problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll go. All right. So you're going around, you're playing the Jersey Shore, you go down to Key West and everything. When did you decide to start recording your own music?
So that in 2020, when the world shut down, I had a lot of time on my hands. Like I didn't have any bookings. I didn't have, I didn't, there was nowhere to play. And I was playing in my basement. I was doing like the online Facebook live shows, which were cool for a little while, and then it kind of got a little bit, it got a little bit much. I was like, but I'd be strumming, and I'd be like, oh, that's right, I wrote this song a long time ago, and I started like recalling some songs that I'd written throughout the years. Now I probably hadn't written anything in a long time, but like I had like 4 or 5 songs that like I really enjoyed, like, and when I say like, some of them, I mean, there's some things on my first CD that like I wrote while I was in Sterling. There's one song that dates back to 1994. That I was just like, you know what? I've never recorded anything. You know, and I started thinking about it, and then one of my best friends, Joey Prate, passed away, and he was like the third friend of mine that had passed away like concurrently, like one after the other, that were like really, really close with me in high school and all. And it just got me thinking and remembering life. And I wrote a song about my emotions, and it was, I thought it was really good. I don't really speak very highly of things I write very often because I, I mean, I don't have the highest self confidence when it comes to it, but I decided to, call on my friend Stephen Rose, who the lead singer of a band called Bong Hits for Jesus, which is they're an incredible band. I believe they're not doing anything now, but Stephen Rose is an incredible artist and an incredible producer, and he's a good friend of mine. So I called him up. I said, "Look, I got a bunch of stupid songs that I want to record." He's like, "Well, first of all, you can't say they're stupid songs. Just but let's record them. Let's see what we can make of them." And I had all these like half ideas, and so I took the couple songs that I had, and then I started writing again, and I was like, where's all this stuff coming from? Like, this is great. It felt good. It felt good to put emotions on paper, and it felt good to like talk about things that like I couldn't really say out loud, but they were easier to say with a melody.
Cathartic to
And
go
so I
through
went.
that process.
Yeah, yeah. So I went in the studio, and with Steven, and we started recording. And before I knew it, I had 11 songs, and I put out my first CD, and I was very proud of it. I still am very proud of it. And then I recently just released in December my new album, which is called "The Island of Misfit Noise," which is I love that title. I don't know why. I was like, I don't care. I'm calling it this because I wanted to put a lot of different genres of rock music into one album. Like I didn't want to like be pigeonholed to like, well, I have to, I'm this type of artist or I'm this type of artist. Like I'm not. Like I write songs in all genres that inspire me. Like sometimes, I might feel like writing a Green Day song, and sometimes I might want to write a Led Zeppelin song. I don't come close to either, but those are the things that inspire me, and I don't want to, you know so that's what the idea of that album title was, The Island of Misfit Noise, because it's just kind of just a bunch of misfits, you know what I mean? Like, it's like the appetizer sampler at Applebee's, like, you got mozzarella sticks on there, you got freaking quesadillas, like, but you know what, it works. Throw in some spinach artichoke dip and some boneless wings, dude. It's freaking Friday night, bro.
You got $1 margaritas with that, man. You're good to go.
Yeah. You got to go in.
Yeah.
I think happy hours 3 to 5. I think, and all day Sunday.
There it is, man. Yeah. I love the name Island of Misfit Noise. And secondly, I love the name Bong Hits for Jesus. I think both of those are just
Oh, yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
Well, Bandits for Jesus, they actually were they had a really good run. They opened up for Cypress Hill. They opened up for Sublime at Rome. Like they had some pretty good acclaim for a while. So definitely
That's
look
awesome.
them up.
Yeah, I have to check them out.
Very good. And I'm sure I'm sure my friend Steven will be happy that I gave him a little plug on this.
Yeah. Shout out to Steven.
Steven Rose, good dude.
That's
Good
it,
dude.
man. Yeah. So are
Um,
you going to do
okay.
do you do any shows that are just purely all your stuff?
No, I want to. It's funny. It's a weird juxtaposition because people. I do about 230 shows a year of all covers, and got everybody singing American Girl and Brown Eyed Girl and whatever girl song they want. Like for years. This is what I've done. So that's how people know me now. it's hard because even like throwing in a song of my own is like I find a little difficult sometimes. I don't know how to, like when to do it. Like if the crowd's not warmed up to me yet, that's when I tend to do it. And it's not like they're not going to get hyped over a song they've never heard, you know. And that's unfortunate. Um, but that's just the way it is. And I'm the same way. If I go out, I'm like, oh, I don't know this song. I'm gonna go get a beer. Like I'm just as guilty. Our ears, like I think as far as music is concerned, that's an issue now with like so much streaming and all that. With I think a lot of songs you don't really appreciate until like they're kind of drilled into your head, you know? And that's how it used to be with like radio. And you don't have that anymore. There's so much. And it's like, if you don't like something right off the bat, if someone doesn't like, gravitate right towards it or put it on their playlist right away, it's dead. But it's hard for me to perform my own originals to people. Like, I don't want to throw it in the middle of everybody enjoying everything because I don't want to break the mood. Like, I have them, I want to keep them. Does that make sense?
It definitely has to be hard. There's songs that I've listened to my entire life, and when I had satellite radio, I would always have this FOMO, like, what's on the next station? But even though I'm enjoying what I'm listening to right there, but I'm like, there's 1,000 other stations. Like, I might like something even a little more. Now, if I'm going out on a Friday night and I expect to see a cover band or hear stuff that I know, and then something comes up either I don't like or I don't know, that's definitely like beer and bathroom time. Like, well, okay, I need to
Right.
dip out for a minute and come back. So that makes it hard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like, I think she look for like,
Good.
like a daytime Sunday or something, like advertise it as like, hey, this is the Mark Fisher show. And this way it's
Yeah,
not.
I'm gonna eventually do that. I want to put together a band because I feel like a lot of my original material I can't really pull off with just a guitar and I mean I a couple songs, but not. I'd rather have the full Monty to do that. That's I will eventually get around to doing that, but I haven't done that yet.
All right.
Hopefully you know it's disheartening too, and like to go back to that is like if I'm playing and I throw in like a Van Halen song and nobody claps, so what? I didn't write it. You know what I mean? But like when
Right.
it's something that that came from my heart, something that I put a lot of effort into, and it's like you hear the crickets, it's like, oh God, oh, you get this like, that warm feeling inside you, and you're like, you just want to like shrink up.
It's stunned silence. They appreciate it so much. Just keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, I don't think that's, but I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, that has to be
Is
hard,
that
man. That has to
equivalent
be
to,
tough.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
it is tough. It's bearing your soul. It's bearing your soul. It's definitely a difficult thing. And I write a lot of personal stuff too. Like, like, my lyrics are very, like I wear my heart on my sleeve when I write. So if I'm singing about something that like is striking an emotion within me, and like I'm like, and I get it. I see, I'm like, oh, everybody's getting a beer, but like in my head, I'm like, just listen, it's good, it
You just start
means
yelling at
something.
them. Yeah. Like, listen, you
No,
guys don't know it.
yeah.
Go the Axl Rose route, man. Just start like, just
I
start
can't.
screaming at them.
I'm too nice of a guy. I can't do that. I wish sometimes I could do that, but it's just not in me.
So when you're playing on a Friday or Saturday night and you're in the middle of your show, do you think you're able to like control the crowd's emotions as you're going? Do you know that like, hey, I'm gonna play like this next song's a banger. I know everyone's gonna get up and start singing to it. We're gonna do Your Love, the outfield, Your Love. Everyone loves that song. That's like frat
Yeah,
party, like 101. Everyone gets up, starts singing that. Everyone wants Sweet Caroline. Oh, oh, oh.
yeah.
Jimmy Buffett, salt,
Morans
salt,
too.
salt. Yeah,
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 but like stuff
yeah.
like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah.
Do you have
You,
like this
yeah.
planned out and you're gonna like get this
I don't have a plan.
crescendo?
I never have a plan, but I have like a million and a half of those bangers. Like every one you just named, and all the other ones that were circling around in your head, and like so. I don't ever like. I used to be very like. I used to have a set list before every show. I used to be like, I got to make sure I plan out everything meticulously. Like, all right, I'm going to do this, and then this is going to be the highlight here. And I used to have this whole formula. And then I realized, especially as I got older, because as I got older, the crowd got older, and what I did became a different thing. I realized that the crowd at the Dead Dog Saloon on at 10:30 at night in Sea Isle is different than the crowd at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at the Tiki Bar, and it's not always as predictable as that. So I try to go into it with no plan. I try to plan the first three songs within within 10 minutes of me starting. I'll be like, okay, I want to start with this, and then I'll just do them. And then like in my head, I have every set list I ever wrote for 20 years. So like I know songs that go well into each other and songs that just work, and the 1-2 punches and the songs that like, okay, now I have to take it down a little bit. The like they're done dancing. So like, it's the ebb and flow of that, you have to, but I don't plan it out, but I know in my head, like how to do it. It's like it's just a natural thing at this point. But yeah, all the bangers, you always have to have them because if you're losing the crowd, you have to know like, okay, cool. I got to get these folks back, especially at 11 o'clock in Sea Isle. You're like, all right, you don't want to lose these people because there's 6 other bars and they're not paying you to, make people
Have
leave
people
from their
leave.
bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
paying to keep them here. So, you got to kind of, and like you said, there's a million of those
The
college,
throwbacks you can reach in, everyone's stuff
yeah.
that they grew up with that they love.
Yeah, and what's good about it is a lot of those songs are multi-generational. So they work in any setting, I try to keep everything upbeat, but then you always have to have those moments as well where it's like, okay, like bring it down a little bit. How about like a nice like sing along, like this is the time right now, like this, and like I said, different songs flow into other songs very well. And, from my set list writing days, I'm like, okay, yeah. No, I remember I used to have like a block of 3 songs that, or 4 songs that would just flow, 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 and then I'll just recall that and my my spreadsheet in my mind.
Yeah. What's the newest song that you've had to learn?
Um, Probably Zach or yeah, Zach Bryan. I think his name is. A
Zach
lot
Brown or
of a
Luke
lot of
Bryan? Or maybe there's a
no no
Zach
no no.
Brown. No, no, two different. Oh, all
Yeah,
right.
there's a
You're
Zach
ahead of me
Bryan.
here.
Yeah, and
Okay, yeah, all right.
he's actually very popular right now. He's a country guy, but it's
Okay.
more of a folk. I'm not a big country. I don't like country. I just was never a country guy. I didn't. I don't. But there's some things that I do like because they're heartfelt. It's I feel like a lot of the country that people ask me for, like Morgan Wallen and Luke Combs and who's the other freaking guy? I don't know, but it's all the same song, just regurgitated. And it's been the same song regurgitated for like 10 years. It's the Nashville Machine. And it's just, there's no heart to it. And they're fake cowboys, like they're fake cowboys and they've got everybody fooled. And I don't like any of that stuff. But Zach Bryan is more of a folk guy. Like, I mean, I guess he would be considered country, but it's more folk and it's heartfelt. And the dude's awesome. I'm just getting into him, and I never heard of him until people started asking for him. But people were asking for him in drones, so I'm like, all right, I better do my research. And what I do, if somebody asks me for an artist that I've never heard of, or that I don't know their music at all, I go to setlists.com, and the first thing I do is I look and see if they end with the same song all the time, and that's the one I go with. You know what I mean? That's the one I try to learn. I'm like, all
You go to
right,
the encore and go to the last one.
yeah,
Like, all
yeah.
right, well,
I
learn
go with
this
the
one.
encore song because I feel like, like, usually the encore song isn't their major hit, but it's like, it's a song that's, a pretty big hit or a song that's like a crowd favorite. And when it's a crowd favorite, it's great because, it's like, it's not a song that I would hear off the radio. Like, so it's like a little bit more genuine, it's a little more like, oh, yeah, no, he's playing this song instead of, whatever everyone would typically play, that's just, yeah. So I guess probably that's one of the lists. Oh no, I'm sorry. I just started doing a new Foo Fighter, or not a new Foo Fighter song. I just started doing Times Like These. I saw the Foo Fighters in Asbury Park in September, and they did Times Like These, which is a song that I never performed before, but they did it like very slow at first, and then they came in rocking. And it was just it invoked a lot of emotion from it because I just lost my mom, and my best friend TJ Baines passed away this year as well. Before that, and when Dave Grohl was performing it, he dedicated it to his mom who just passed away, and to Taylor Hawkins, his best friend, the drummer. And I'm like, and it hit me in a way, and I'm like, you know what? This song's going on my playlist. I don't care. I don't care how it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit with anything else that I play, but
It means something to you. You're like, whatever, people, go get your beer. Then I'm singing this.
yeah, I've gotten a little bit better with that. Like where I don't know if it's I think it's better incorporating a little bit more of myself into my show as opposed to what I think everybody else wants. Like that's still my main focus is to, for everybody else, but I think it makes it a little bit more genuine if it's, something that means something to me, you know what I mean? As well.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's okay to put some of that in there too.
That See Here Now festival is like the second weekend of September, and that's my anniversary weekend, and that's the weekend that we go on vacation as a family usually. So it's like every year that whenever I see the lineup, I'm like, oh, like again, I'm missing this. Like, oh God. So Foo Fighters still on my list to be checked off to see, but every year, like, it's just amazing he's playing there. I'm like, Jesus, it's like an hour away. Why can't I do this?
Well, they're playing July 24th in Hershey. I have tickets to that too.
All right, I'll have to look into that one.
That's yeah. No, I just had to check this. I'm actually booking my summer schedule now, and this is usually in January I book pretty much through November, and then like in November I scramble to like book December, January, February, and then just kind of ride it out until like March, April, summer. Summer starts for me in April, so it's April to October is like the summer.
That's awesome, man.
But yeah, so I was like, oh shoot, I got to remember I can't book because we're going to Hershey to see Foo Fighters. But yeah, the See Here Now festival was pretty awesome. It was Weezer was there, Sheryl Crow, Beach Boys with John Stamos.
Ah, you have to have Stamos there.
Yeah, Stamos was there. I was not expecting that, but Stamos was there.
He drummed with them at least like 4 times during the TV show. They'd have the Beach Boys on. He'd always be drumming on there. The Kokomo, right? He was in the video.
Yeah, but no, he was playing guitar. He was like he was kind of the front man. He was kind of like the running the show, It was like it was
Jesse
weird.
And the Rippers taking the next level.
Yeah, but they didn't play forever, and I was very upset about that.
That's bullshit, man.
Yeah, no, I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got John Stamos, and you're not going to do forever. Oh, well, okay, but no, it was a good time, and it was Asbury Park's a cool town. I'd never been there before.
I went there in June for the first time. So, and I felt like Springsteen lied to me. Like, so Springsteen, that's a broken down shore town. It's terrible. Brian Fallon, lead singer of Gaslight Anthem, he was playing the Stone Pony. So I was like, oh, I'm go up. So me and Buddy drive up there. And I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, this place there's brand new buildings everywhere. There's like high rise, like condos all over the place. The Stone Pony is 10 feet from the beach. I was like, what do you like, Springsteen? Like, were you just trying to keep all these people out of here?
Well, you got to remember, I don't know this for a fact, but I mean, Springsteen kind of made that town popular. So, I mean, maybe they've built it up, around that legacy. Maybe when he was singing about it in the 70s, maybe it was.
But yeah, I heard about 10 years ago, it was still kind of trashy, and they've dumped a ton of money into it, and now it is what it is. But it was a super
now it's
cool area.
$7 for a slice of freaking pizza.
Yeah, man, I had 2 of them. I was like, hey, this place is cool. Stone Pony. Like I was not expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was really shocked how it's a narrow venue. So you're only, worst case scenario, you're 15, 20 people away from the stage, but then it's like 400 wide. So you could be like really far away from the stage, but you're still only like, oh, I'm so close to right there, but you're still kind of far away.
You could be front row and nowhere near.
Yeah, you're like, I'm right here. And they have a little side room or whatever, but I was like, I can't make it over there. But yeah, not a bad seat in the house. Like, this place is cool.
I actually didn't go in. I didn't go into the Stone Pony because we were so preoccupied. Well, we didn't stay in Asbury Park. We stayed like a town or two over. I think Jupiter or Neptune.
Neptune. I just had a pizza eating contest in Neptune, man. Pete and Elders. Oh,
Oh,
Housestand
really?
pizza. Yeah.
How many slices you eat?
So you had to eat. This is terrible. I'm going to cut this from the podcast. People are like this fat bastard. So
Oh,
it is. I think it's more of like a tourist trap. It's more of like a So you had to eat a large pizza. It's a 20-inch pizza, 20 or 22, and you get a T-shirt
okay.
if you do it. But it's a thinner pizza. So like
Okay.
D'Amico's or something. I mean,
Right.
I ate. So I went with two buddies and their families, and the one guy finished in 7 minutes. I finished in like 8:20, and then the other guy finished in like 9 or 10. And then as we're finishing up, my buddy's two kids were doing it, and they were slowing down. So like we were sneaking slices for them to eat. So I finished eating 10 slices of pizza. And when I was done, I sat back. I was like, oh, I probably
On
could
a
still eat
22
more.
inch, 22-inch pie.
22-inch, but it was thin. It was like a Domino's thin crust. Like you could
Okay.
just house
Okay.
that all day. So like I would say
Yeah.
it'd probably be equal to like four D'Amicos or something, 4 or 5, like where,
Yeah.
but
All
it
right.
was, yeah, you get a t-shirt out
All
of
right, man. Yeah. I listen. I'll do anything for a free T-shirt. They,
it.
and I'm sure they probably have 3XL because it's a pizza eating contest. They
Yeah,
probably have
everyone's
bigger
there. Everyone gets
sizes
the
for
same
bigger guys.
size. Like some child, they're like, I want. They're like, no,
Ah,
you get the. Yeah, there's no requesting sizes. So I feel that
ah.
it's kind of this tourist trap where they know that most people can do it, but it's like, hey, if we offer this, and I forget how much it was. It was like it was 20 something dollars something to do. So they
Yeah.
know that if I just went and ordered a couple slices and a beer or a Coke or whatever, I probably would spend 15. But like, oh, we can get this guy to spend 24 and then give him this $3 t-shirt that we mass ordered. It's just a way to
Right.
get everybody
Exactly.
just to get,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. It's all marketing. It's all
Yeah.
marketing.
Because
That's all it is.
Rowan, over by Rowan, they have this Cookie Munchers place. I've never been there. And they have now we're talking about competitive eating, but they have this cookies that you can eat.
You're
And
talking my language. I've always wanted to eat competitive eating.
so listen to this 10 cookies you have to eat. And they are huge. It comes out on a pizza pie, all 10. And like me holding my hands up does nothing for you. They are huge. And so you pick the kind of cookie that you want. And you can pick, I guess, 9 of the same, but one has to be different. So I did 5 chocolate chip and 5 red velvet. My buddy who ate the pizza with, he did a bunch of other ones. Dude, the chocolate chips were like a bag of chocolate chips in each, and you get to drink a Nesquik chocolate milk.
Oh, okay. Give you
And
milk.
then after,
Okay, good.
yeah, after you do the chocolate milk, you can have water, and you have 20 minutes to do this. I think, dude, there was a bag of chocolate chips in each cookie that was almost like eating peanut butter. Your mouth was just exhausted. It was terrible. I did not win that one. My buddy won that one. He got a t-shirt. And if you win, you
All
don't have
right.
to pay for the cookies. You get a picture on the wall and you get a t-shirt. I lost. I paid $45 for cookies. And my cookies that I didn't eat were such a mess. I couldn't even take them home. The guy's like, do you want a box? I'm like, it looks like no, I don't want a box. Like, this is terrible. That's a hard one, but so don't do
Yeah,
chocolate
no,
chip when you go there. Red velvet, sugar cookies, things like that.
no, I've always wanted to do hot dog eating contests. I feel like I can. I feel like I can do pretty well. I'm not saying I could win, but I think I can. I think I could place in a hot dog eating contest.
You think so? How many dogs do you think you can do?
Uh, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't. I've never eaten any amount of hot dogs where I was like, I don't want another hot dog.
All right.
Like, you know what I
They-
mean? Like, I've never actually sat there and like tried to do it.
I went to
But
Philly's Dollar Dog one night, and me and a buddy we were like, dude, let's do this. Let's see what we can do. And maybe they changed it now, but before there used to be like 2 vendors with the hot dogs. You'd like go find them and get it. So we're like, oh, we'll each take 10. So they were already cold to begin with. I got through 6. My buddy had 6. I ate the 7th one leaning over a trash can. It was ice cold, half cooked. I got the 7th one
uh,
down. My body hated me for the next 3 days.
so I mentioned my friend Joey earlier, and actually another friend of mine, Matt Litton, who also passed away this year. It's been rough. It's been a
Tough
rough.
year for you, man. Tough year.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of years, but this year especially. For Joey's 40th birthday, we all got together. My friend Timmy had just died. Timmy Gross. I don't know if you remember him from high school, but
Oh, yeah. Yep. God, man.
we're like, you know what? Let's get together for something. And it happened to be Joey's birthday, who passed away shortly thereafter. Me, Joey, and I want to say I forget who else. We did the same thing. It was Dollar Dog Night. We went to the Phillies game. It was 25 of us that went to the Phillies game. But we were like, all right, who wants to? But I ended up eating 10.
10. Whoa.
With
Good
no
for
problem.
you. Yeah.
And they both stopped. The two next were both 6. I could have stopped at 7,
Yeah.
but I
You went
didn't
to show
want
domination. This was like the
yeah,
Warriors
I
running.
didn't want to
Yeah.
just win. I wanted to win. But I
Yeah.
could eat more, but like the game was over.
Yeah. Guys, gotta get some dogs. Man, you gotta go. Come on, I got money. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, Dollar Dog Night's the best. If you can get tickets for Dollar Dog Night, like it's actually, and it's usually on Tuesdays too, I think, if I'm not
Just
mistaken.
yeah, I think typically they put it
It's
on
just
Tuesday. You just go there, make sure you wear your Thanksgiving pants so you can stretch out.
yeah, oh yeah, always. Yeah.
Yeah. All
But
right, let's wrap this up in a minute. But all right, so you're
okay.
playing at a bar, you can feel the energy changing. You feel the negative energy coming on. Guys had too many beers, someone looked at somebody the wrong way. Do you feel that? Like I've been at bars and felt that, and I've definitely like pulled
Yes.
my wife away. I'm like, hey, there's something happening over here. Are you
Yeah.
able to change that a little bit with your music? Do you have like something? I know you can't like cure everything with music, but you're like, hey, like usually everybody buys into this song, or it's like it's too far gone. And do you play through it, or are you commentating?
Usually for me, I'll usually take a break. I'm like, all right, folks, I'm going to be right back. You guys enjoy yourselves, and then I'll get the hell out of there because growing up, I was in way too many bar fights and saw too many bar fights, and I'm old and I don't want to be anywhere near that. So if I feel like a negative energy, if I feel like anything, I'll take a break. I'll secure my stuff the best I can, go out the back door, have a smoke, and kind of like assess the situation. I'll be honest, it doesn't happen very often. I don't know if it's just the luck of the draw of the places I play, but it doesn't really like that negativity that I mean, you're only a couple years younger than me. So I mean you remember like the fights that used to break out almost every night, like places like Mickey's and Sharky's, and like there was fights all the time back then. It's like it's a little bit more mellow now, I think, and I just probably shot myself in the foot. Watch now, I'll play
It
this
stays
weekend.
mellow because of your good vibes you're providing, man. That's what it is.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, I hope that I play some part in that, but I mean, like even when I'm just out and about, like I don't really ever feel that negative energy too much as I used to, and maybe when I was younger, like it was new, so maybe I mistook certain things as negative energy, but it was just people having a good time, and I just hadn't experienced it yet. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Maybe that just comes from experience, and yeah,
I think I have this sixth sense. I have this sixth sense where I can see a fight happening. Like I can feel it, I can smell it, and it's just like, all right, two steps back. Like, let's just see what's
yeah,
happening here. Like, make sure my wife's okay. Like, all right, we'll slide over here. And she's like, what is happening? I'm like,
yeah,
you missed it. Like, one, don't you feel that? And two, like this guy's just looking at him just the wrong way. You can just see he's looking the wrong way.
yeah. I mean, I have I have pretty good wherewithal when it comes to that. But like I said, I haven't really encountered much of that in recent years. And like I mean, I play earlier now. Like most of my shows are done by 11 o'clock. Like I don't, I'm older now. I don't, and ever since COVID, things aren't open as late either. Bars used to stay open till 3 o'clock in the morning, which I guess some still do, some do again. But I didn't used to start playing until 10:30. Now I'm done by 11, sometimes 10:30, sometimes I'm done by 8, like different places. I play for an older crowd, but if there's ever any trouble brewing or anything, I try to disappear. I try to, not be in anywhere near where I could be any kind of involved.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
smart.
it's just, I'm way past all that stuff. And, I sometimes I'll stay places a little bit later and I will feel that way, but like I won't be playing anymore. So if I feel that, I'm all right. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And
See you guys tomorrow. Yep. Yeah, no, I hear
yeah,
you. But it has to be funny
it's
now since like COVID that places, were closed or they close earlier or they were only open on certain days that there was a time like I definitely don't go out like at midnight anymore. But like you would go out at midnight or 12:30 or 1 and
oh
expect
yeah,
like your bar to be open. And if nobody was there, like the bar was still open because they didn't close until 3 o'clock. Now they might close at
yeah,
2:30 if no one's there, but like you could walk into a bar at 1:45, nobody there, and they're still waiting for you. But now it's probably like, hey, 12:30, no one's here. Yeah, we're gonna call it a night. We're not spending
yeah.
more money, and yeah, see you guys later.
That's exactly how it is. It's I mean, good for them. I mean, I did used to eat, not just as a musician, but also as a restaurant manager and as even as a dishwasher as long ago as that was. Like I've worked in the industry and I know what it's like to be there till 3:30 in the morning and 4 o'clock in the morning, and
No one's
it
been there for
sucks.
5 hours and you're leaning on the counter. You're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. I mean, and it's so I get it, but at the same time, I am a little bit of a night owl, and I do like I'll get like antsy to be like, oh, it's only 11 o'clock. Maybe I'll have a nightcap, and I'll drive to the Wick, and it's like, oh no, we close at 9:30 tonight. Like what?
That's terrible, man.
There's a Wick, I mean, well, you know where I live. Wick is on my
Yeah.
way home, no matter which way I go, really, except for
Yeah.
you know. There's only one way where it's not on my way home, and if I go that way, then Valari's is on my way home.
Yeah. Valari's, you got Shady's, you got the Wick. You're covered. You got
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm right in the middle of the triangle there. Yeah.
You got the three
Uh,
wise men there all the time. So where can people find you? People want to come see you this summer. People want to get your own music. Where can people find you?
okay. Well, my schedule is always on Facebook, my Facebook page, the Mark J. Fisher music page. I am on Instagram. I try really hard to remember to post things on Instagram, but I'm an old school guy. I always remember my Facebook. I always forget to do Instagram, but you can follow me on Instagram, Marky the Fish. And as far as my music, it's available on Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, pretty much. Yeah, no, not pretty much. Everywhere where you can stream music, you can stream or you can purchase both of my albums. Fish Out of Water, which was released in 2021, and The Island of Misfit Noise, which was released just this past December here.
That's awesome. All right.
So,
So streaming
yeah,
everywhere, people. Stream it, buy it. I'll put all
yeah,
your stuff in my show notes so people can see where you're going. Come follow
awesome.
Mark this summer. Come check him out. Tell him you heard him on Wild and Weird. Let him know what a good time you're having with him. But Mark, I appreciate it, man. It was great catching up with you. Open door policy. Anytime you come back, talk music, talk, we can do the 27 Club when you talk about all musicians that died at 27, if it's a curse or
Oh
not.
yeah,
We got stuff
that's.
we can get into.
I wish you'd brought that up earlier.
So this is part
Wait.
2, man. You're coming on again.
All right, sounds good, buddy. It was great catching up with you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. You take care. Thanks
No
a lot.
worries. Thank you. All right,
I'll see you.
you.
Take care. Bye. All right, everyone. That was our show. Don't forget to leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you stream your podcast. Like and follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on all things wild and weird. Check out the links in the show notes for more information on our guests. The biggest support you can offer is to tell everyone about the podcast. Until next time.